Sarasota is located in Florida. We're the second largest hospital as far as beds in the state. I want to thank Connexall for having me here. Connexall is very active in listening to our concerns and how they can help us fix those problems. I see the potential of middleware, but a lot of people just don't understand it. I mean, it took me a long time to really understand that middleware process. You have to have buy-in from everybody to make this work. We have 4 different pods. So one of the questions we had to look at, how do the parents perceive this environment? Do they feel safe as well as do the nurses feel safe? Parents want to know that their baby's safe even when they're not there. And if the nurse isn't there, who's watching my baby? So you have to have that scripting of, even though I'm not in the room, I know exactly what's going on with your baby because all the vital signs come to my phone. I have a buddy who's my partner for the day. So if I can't get to your baby as soon as possible, I know my buddy's going to be there. So you have to have other ways of communicating. So we have visual cues as well as other auditory cues. This is a private room here. It's so important to have a good concept of what kind of design you want to have for your NICU. So many people are involved in this process. We had mostly our charge nurses were on this committee, and we have our respiratory therapists, our multi-skilled technicians, information systems, all vendors coming to the table. I cannot stress that enough. We were very much a Philips hospital. At this planning stage, we had the option of looking at other monitors. So the staff selected the GE monitor. And the hospital had already integrated a communication device, which was Volt. So the last piece of this puzzle that we had to look at was middleware. You know, I knew what the vision was, I knew what we needed, but I didn't know how to get there. It's really about transfers alarm signals from equipment to cell phone for clinician alerts, allows clinicians to determine which signals are high versus low alerts. The great thing for us, I think, about Connexall is they were very independent and they could work with anybody, and they were very flexible in giving us lots of options. So with your Volts, you're able to receive texts, phone calls, both incoming and outgoing. Your alarm management, we receive our code alerts over this staff emergency, and our delivery team comes over Volts as well. So these are some of the questions we had to work on as we were planning this. Identify failures and determine causes, and how did Connexall help us with these issues? So this is what the board looks like that the MSTs work. It's very simple. It's just a drag and drop. So you have the room number, and the first box here is your primary nurse. In the second tier, you have your buddy and the respiratory therapist. We tried the equipment in our new unit as much as we could. We did simulations, we did education. We thought we were really prepared. And when you move in, it's kind of like that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. All the nurse could focus on was the baby and where her supplies were. It was like nothing else was there, you know. And I remember in January waking up one day feeling like this big weight had been lifted off of me because I could tell they actually had come down from the ceiling. So this is looking at the number of alarms per day per nurse that they're receiving in the unit. So if you look back at the blue, the first bar, that was back in September. Only half of those was the primary nurse responding to. A third of them were escalating all the way to the charge nurse. So this is our latest data on the red bar where you see 80.46. For me, as a nurse on for 12 hours, I received 80 alarms in that 12-hour period. That means 6.6 alarms per hour. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's what? That's a lot. So that's something we still need to look at. But how much of those are incidental or just pulse ox, or what else can we look at to minimize those? But now you can see the primary is acknowledging pretty much all of the alarms, either with her phone by accepting the alarm or doing it at the bedside. And very minimally do they escalate to the secondary and backup. So I think that's a credit to our workflow and the input of all our staff. So what went well? I think collaborating with other healthcare organizations, either through Connexall or using your other vendors with Bolt and GE, and being able to contact those other institutions that are probably ahead of the game than we were and give us some great feedback. Simulations, the more you can do. Working collaboratively with whoever you choose, whatever monitor, whatever phone communication system you use, whatever middleware you use. We do monthly phone call meetings with Connexall, which has been very, very helpful. I have pulled IT into it. So we all know the 2016 requirements for Joint Commission: establish policies and procedures to manage alarms, addressing appropriate settings for alarm signals, and details of when alarm parameters can be changed, with follow-up monitoring and organizational education. This is going to be our next journey. We don't really have any policies and procedures. We have it all up here, but it's not written on paper, so we need to start working on that.
Thank you, Debbie.